members of the Board of Trustees, members of the faculty and staff, distinguished guests, new recipients of graduate degrees, and the mighty class of 2025, I welcome you.
Wesleyan overall has just meant growth for me and adaptation because I've really learned how to actually move past things. I was always able to find a new community.
I think my advice to my first-year self is probably believe in yourself. You know what's right, you know that you're supposed to be here, and you know that you can work hard, and you're gonna do it, and you're gonna get here.
No matter where we go, we must continue to be unapologetically ourselves. Because more than anything, Wesleyan taught me to take up space with confidence.
Given the state of our country, you are more than a mere promise. You might well be the last line of defense of and for American intellectual life.
In your courageous company, I am encouraged to believe that we may yet be able to build a politics and a culture characterized by compassionate solidarity rather than fear and resentment. We will be proud of how you keep your education alive by making it effective in the world.
If you're able, stand up. Stand up for democracy right now. If you're able, stand up and let our rising start your rising as the generation that renews our democracy. Look around. You have it in you. Give them reason to write how America awakened. We need you, graduates. Let's hear it for the class of 2025. Congratulations again.